All right, let's dive in. Today, we're getting really up close and personal with the little one growing inside you.
Yeah.
Specifically, figuring out their position, without needing any appointments or like fancy gadgets.
hmm
You, our listener, showed some really interesting material that, well, it sparked this whole deep dive. It focuses on these practical, kind of hands-on ways pregnant people can connect with their babies and understand exactly how they're, nestled in there.
And you're hitting on something really key right away. It's
Yeah.
incredibly practical. But as the material shows, it's also like much more than just a technical exercise.
Right.
Understanding your baby's position is, well, it's a powerful piece of preparing for birth. And maybe even more importantly, it's just a beautiful way to deepen that connection you're already building.
Before they're even born.
Exactly. Before they're even born.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to unpack how you can tune into your body and listen to the fascinating cues your baby is constantly
Like
sending.
little messages.
Yeah. Things like where those tiny kicks land, or even the rhythmic little thumps of hiccups.
Mm.
And use all of that info to create a map right there on your belly of where your baby is hanging out.
It's really about becoming intimately familiar with the landscape of your own pregnancy.
Oh, I love that framing, the landscape of your own pregnancy. Okay, so let's start with the core concept, belly mapping. What is this at its heart?
So essentially, belly mapping is a technique using your hands, right, on the outside of your belly to get a sense of what's happening inside.
Okay.
You're feeling for the baby's shape, their limbs, their back.
Yeah.
You're trying to identify which part is where.
And, as your material points out, this isn't some brand new trendy thing, right? Healthcare providers have been doing something pretty similar for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. That's right. The techniques we'll talk about for feeling the baby's position from the outside, they have deep roots in clinical practice. They mirror something called Leopold's maneuvers.
Leopold's maneuvers. Okay.
Yeah, midwives and doctors have used these for generations, really, during prenatal visits, especially later in pregnancy, to figure out how the baby's presenting and positioned.
Gives it that historical weight, doesn't it? So it has this clinical background, but your sources highlight this really lovely dual purpose.
Precisely. Yes, it's a valuable tool for assessment, no doubt, but the material strongly emphasizes its role as a bonding tool. Taking the time, even just a few minutes, to gently feel your baby, interpret their movements, and physically interact through touch. It just transforms it. It's not a clinical check anymore.
It becomes personal.
It becomes a deeply personal connection. You're not just feeling movement, you're feeling your baby.
That shift in perspective is just,
Right.
it's everything. It makes that invisible little person inside so much more real, doesn't it?
It really does.
Okay, now let's get into the nitty-gritty of baby positioning terminology, because it's a bit more detailed than just saying head down, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. A baby can be head down, sure, but still oriented in different directions within the pelvis. So when providers talk about position, they're usually referring to the orientation of the back of the baby's head.
Okay, the back of the head. Help us visualize that a bit.
Okay, think of the baby's head like a compass.
Right.
The point of reference, the arrow on that compass that tells us the position, that's the back of their head. It's called the occiput.
Occiput, okay.
Yeah. And this is why the common terms you hear are OP and OA.
OP and OA. Okay, lay those out for us. What do they mean?
Okay, OP stands for occiput posterior. This means the back of the baby's head, the occiput, is oriented towards your back.
Towards my back, so the baby's face.
Facing towards your front, essentially.
Yeah.
Or facing upwards if you're lying flat on your back.
Gotcha. Okay. OP, back to back with me.
Right. And OA is occiput anterior. That's where the back of the baby's head is oriented towards your front.
So the baby is facing my back then.
Exactly. Baby's facing your back.
Got it. OP, back to back, baby facing forward. OA, baby's back to my front, baby facing my back. And the source material mentions OA is generally the most common and often the most favorable position for birth. Why is that?
Yeah, it is the most common. In that OA position, with the baby facing your back, the back of their head, the occiput, is towards the front of your pelvis.
Right.
And this orientation typically allows the baby to tuck their chin more easily
Oh.
and present the smallest diameter of their head to kind of navigate the curves of the birth canal. It's often just, well, biomechanically, it's a more efficient way for the baby to come down and rotate through the pelvis.
Makes sense. It's like lining up for the easiest path through.
Pretty much. Now, it's really important to say OP babies can absolutely be born vaginally, happens all the time. But OA is the most frequent starting position and often leads to, well, a smoother process.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So how do we actually do this? How do we put this into practice? Walk us through the steps from the material you shared.
Yeah.
How to use our hands and these like amazing baby cues to figure this out ourselves.
Okay, so the first step is actually crucial for success.
Yeah.
You got to get comfortable.
Mm. And get reclined.
Reclined, okay. Find a position where your abdominal muscles can really, truly relax. Propped up on a couch with pillows, maybe, or lying down comfortably in bed. The more relaxed your tummy muscles are, the easier it is to feel the baby through that abdominal wall.
Okay, so relaxation is definitely key. Once we're reclined and comfortable, where do we actually start feeling?
You start at the top of your belly,
Ah,
gently, use your hands to feel around the uppermost part of your uterus, right under your rib cage or wherever the top currently reaches for you. What do you feel there?
and what are we trying to identify up there? Head, butt.
Exactly. You're trying to figure out if what's at the top is the baby's head or their butt.
Right.
And, as your sources note, sometimes they can feel surprisingly similar,
Right.
especially earlier on, or just depending on how the baby's tucked in there.
Yeah, I can imagine. How do you tell the difference then? Is there like a trick?
There is. The source mentions something called the wiggle test.
The wiggle test. Okay, tell me more.
So a baby's head is typically harder and rounder. Think of feeling your own skull.
Okay, hard and round.
A butt is usually a bit less defined, maybe firm, but not quite as hard and round. So if you feel something up top and you're just not sure, try gently kind of grasping it and wiggling it slightly.
Okay, I'm picturing this gently wiggling the top bump. So
Yeah.
what happens?
Well, if you wiggle that part at the top and you feel like the whole baby's body seems to move or shift with that wiggle,
Mm-hmm.
it's highly likely you're feeling the baby's butt. Think about it. If you wiggle your own butt, your whole torso kind of moves with it, right?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
If you wiggle that part up top and it feels like it's moving sort of independently, like the rest of the baby's body isn't really shifting much.
Just the top part moves.
Yeah, that's more likely the head. Like trying to gently wiggle just your head. Your body stays pretty still. It's not, perfect science, but it's a pretty great differentiator most of the time.
Okay, wow, that makes so much sense. The wiggle test, that's a great mental image. So, okay, we've felt the top, maybe done the wiggle test. We have a hypothesis, head or butt up there. What's next?
Next, you move to the sides of your belly. Place both your hands gently, one on each side of your belly, and just feel down each side, from top towards bottom.
And what are we feeling for on the sides?
Here, you're feeling for the difference between the baby's back and their limbs, their arms and legs. The back is typically felt as a smoother, firmer, more kind of consistent surface running along one side, like a long, curved line almost.
Yeah, smooth and firm. Got it.
The opposite side, where their arms and legs are kicking about, that's going to feel more bumpy, maybe lumpy, or just uneven. You might feel distinct little knobs or juts.
Little pointy bits.
Yeah, those are the fetal parts, or limbs the source mentions.
Ah, okay. So the smooth side is the back, and the bumpy side is the party zone with all the arms and legs kicking around.
Yeah, you're starting to build a picture now, right? You have an idea what's up top. You know which side is the back and which side has the limbs. And this leads you directly into using the baby's own language.
Their movements.
Their movements as clues, yes.
The kicks and hiccups. Okay, how do these... tell us their position. This is cool.
They are incredibly useful.
Yeah.
So once you've identified the smooth side, the back, and the bumpy side, the limbs, think about where you feel kicks most strongly, or like most frequently.
Okay.
You're almost always going to feel those kicks primarily on the side opposite of the baby's back,
Opposite the back.
because that's where their feet are located.
Yeah.
If their back is on your left side, you'll probably feel most kicks over on your right side, whether those kicks are up high near your ribs or maybe lower down.
Okay, that makes total sense. Kicks point to where the feet are, opposite the smooth back. What about those adorable rhythmic hiccups? How do they help?
Oh, hiccups are gold for mapping. Absolute gold.
Really? Why?
Think about where we feel hiccups. It's kind of high up, right? In our upper chest or back near our diaphragm. Well, the baby feels hiccups near their diaphragm and upper back, too. So wherever you consistently feel those little rhythmic jolts or pulses in your belly, that's a really strong indicator of where the baby's head and upper back are located.
Wait, that's a really powerful clue then. So, okay, if the baby is head down, where would I feel the hiccups?
If the baby is head down, their head and upper back are down low, right? Settled into your pelvis area. So you'll feel those hiccups of these consistent little pulses very low in your belly, often just above your pubic bone.
Wow. Low hiccups mean head down.
Generally, yeah. It's a
Yeah.
very strong correlation.
And if they're head up, like butt down, breech.
Then the head and upper back are higher up in your belly, right?
Oh.
So you'd feel the hiccups pulsing higher up, maybe closer to your belly button or even above it.
Okay.
This is honestly one of the clearest cues for figuring out head down versus head up position, especially when you combine it with feeling what's actually up top and down low.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
kicks on the side, opposite the back tells you feet location, hiccups tell you where the head and upper back are. This is really starting to come together now.
It is. It's like assembling puzzle pieces.
Okay.
So after you felt the top, felt the sides, tuned into the kicks and hiccups,
Mhm.
the final step for this kind of self-mapping is to gently feel the lower part of your belly, down towards your pubic bone.
To feel what's presenting down there, what's heading towards the exit, so to speak.
Exactly. What part of the baby is settled down there into your pelvis? Is it that hard, round head you maybe felt up top earlier, confirming the baby is head up, or breech?
More?
Or is it something different from what you felt up top? Like maybe you feel that hard, round head here down low when you felt something distinctly squishier up high.
Ah, using the contrast.
Yeah, your source gives a great example, actually, of feeling something firm but way squishier at the top.
Okay.
And then down low, feeling a distinct, hard, round head. That clearly indicates the baby was head down.
That contrast is super helpful. Okay, but what if you feel around the top and the bottom, and you don't feel a definite head or a definite butt clearly positioned in either place? Like nothing seems to be up or down.
Yeah, that's a good question. That can happen, and that's a pretty good indicator that the baby might be lying sideways across your belly.
Oh, transverse.
A transverse lie, exactly. In that case, you'd likely feel the head on one side of your belly, maybe over near one hip, and the butt over on the other side. You wouldn't feel a major pull, either the head or the butt, settled vertically into your pelvis at the top or bottom.
Okay, that paints a clear picture too, so that's another possibility to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And the source mentions one more step that providers might do, but it isn't really for self-mapping at home.
Right. A provider, like a midwife or doctor, might also assess if the baby's presenting part, usually the head when they're head down, is engaged in the pelvis.
Engaged, meaning like locked in.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
How far down it's settled? They might gently feel around the head low down to see how freely it moves side to side. If it's engaged, fixed in the pelvis, it won't move around much. If it's still floating higher up, they can wiggle it more easily.
Ah, okay.
This helps them understand how far the baby has descended. But like you said, this isn't really a necessary step for you at home, just trying to figure out the baby's general position, like OA, OP, breech, or transverse.
Got it. So the core self-mapping is feel the top, wiggle test, feel the sides for back versus limbs, listen to where the kicks are, listen to where the hiccups are, and feel the lower belly to see what's presenting there. And keeping in mind that transverse possibility.
You've got it. Those are the key steps.
So after going through all this, taking the time to do this, what's the real benefit? Why is doing this worth the time and effort?
Well, the most immediate benefit, like the source points out, is just having this non-invasive way to understand your baby's position. You don't need an ultrasound, you don't need an internal exam, you don't need an appointment.
So you can just do it anytime.
Anytime you want. Lying in bed at night, relaxing on the couch. It's information that's accessible to you.
Which is empowering in itself, I think.
Absolutely. Huge empowerment factor. But going deeper, that bonding aspect, it really cannot be overstated. This isn't just like data collection.
Right.
It's physical interaction. It's you, and maybe your partner too, literally laying hands on your baby, feeling their shape, acknowledging their presence, their position inside you. It makes the baby feel incredibly real and present in your daily life.
It really does take the abstract idea of a baby inside and turns it into this tangible, touchable reality.
Exactly. It's sensory.
Yeah.
And this physical sensory connection can be incredibly grounding during pregnancy, which can sometimes feel a bit abstract or overwhelming.
Yeah.
Furthermore, having this personal understanding of your baby's position, it can help you feel more prepared, more confident as you get closer to labor. It also lets you have more informed conversations with your care provider. Well, instead of just asking, so where's the baby positioned? You can come in and say something like, I've been feeling the back pretty consistently on my left side, and most of the kicks are over on my right, and the hiccups seem really low. Does that sound like OA to you?
Ah, you can participate in the conversation differently.
Precisely. It creates this shared understanding, enhances communication, builds trust. It turns it into more of a partnership in understanding what's happening.
It gives you agency in the process. I like that.
Exactly. Agency is the perfect word.
Okay, this has been incredibly insightful, seriously helpful. Just to quickly recap for everyone listening, we've explored what belly mapping is, its connection to those traditional Leopold's maneuvers,
Hmm.
how to distinguish head from butt using that clever wiggle test, how to find the baby's back versus their limbs by feeling the sides,
Yeah.
smooth versus bumpy. And crucially, how to use those kicks to locate the feet and hiccups to locate the head and upper back, which then helps you figure out positions like OA, baby facing your back, or OP, baby facing your front, or even breech or transverse.
Yeah, pulling all those little clues together to build that mental map, that picture of the baby's orientation inside.
And the payoff really is feeling more connected, more empowered, and just better equipped for conversations about labor and birth.
Absolutely. It demystifies things a little bit.
Yeah, totally. So here's a final thought for you, our listener, to maybe sit with after this deep dive. How might simply dedicating a few minutes each day or even each week to gently feel and connect with your baby through this kind of mapping technique, how might that change your perception of your pregnancy?
That's a great question.
Could this simple act of physical connection unlock maybe a deeper sense of partnership with your baby? Could it influence not just your understanding of their position, but maybe your entire journey toward birth? Something to consider next time you feel those little flutters or kicks.